Hello, welcome to BJA Today, and I'm BJ Arnett. I've got a really special guest with me right now, and I want to set it up by saying I love driving down Main Street. East Point's Mayor, Deana, thank you so much for joining us, Deana Ingraham.
Thank you
I,
for the opportunity.
I can't tell you how much I enjoy East Point now. My husband and I come through East Point and go, wow, wow, wow. You all are doing great things in East Point.
Well, God is great, and yes, great things are happening in East Point. It's our time.
It is. You know, I look at some of the businesses that have popped up, and those that have been here for many years the ones who've been here for many years have a new face.
Yes.
They have a new look. Talk to us about what it is that is different about East Point.
So I think the difference is that we have decided that we are stronger together and that working together we can get more done, right? And so there are a number of things in the city, like our new city hall. Well, that wasn't a project that we.
Gorgeous.
Thank you so much. That's not something we came up with. That had been something that prior councils have been trying to work on for a while. And I said, we are the council, mayor and council, that take the plans off the shelf and actually put them in action, right? And so it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of vision. It takes a lot of commitment. But I can definitely say the majority of our council are committed to doing what is necessary to move the city forward. But more importantly, to make sure that we are building our community inside out, that we are bringing things for our residents, and we're building the people in our community as we hope to attract new people to the community.
And you do attract new people to the community
Yes.
because my husband and I have looked over here and said, it really is pulling.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things that you said, and you've said it twice now, so I have to bring it back to you.
Okay.
There has to be a significant amount of understanding of standing on faith. What you see can manifest if
Absolutely.
you believe it.
Where there's no vision, the people perish, right? And so for us, it is really having a vision that we can be different, a vision that we can grow equitably without, either minimizing the negative impacts of gentrification, if not preventing it, right? So grow in a way that respects our legacy residents, our legacy businesses, and allow them to reap the fruits of their investment and their labor, right, as we continue to grow and attract people here. I can tell you that is hard in and of itself, because when you're trying to disrupt a model of development that not only happens in this area but in this country, there's a lot of resistance, right? And I think a lot of it is because there's not a model.
Right.
People talk about it. People say, well, we shouldn't build, and it's wrong to build and push people out of their communities, but where's the model?
But they still do it.
They still do it because that is the American way of development,
Right.
So we are working and committed to building a new model, building a model, equitable redevelopment, revitalization of our city. And that requires making sure that we're putting things in place, policies and ordinances in place, making sure that we're pressing pause to be able to take a look at where do we want to go and what do we have the constitutional right to do?
Right.
What do we have within our toolbox to be able to help us get there, right? Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so we spend a lot of time around planning and a lot of time now around really being vocal and making a commitment to our residents that this is about them. Like, we're not going to do things to them. We want to do things with them. And this is going to benefit all of us, right? We're going to have a community that we can live, work, shop, play, stay, enjoy, a vibrant community, a thriving community with them. And I think that message I'm very intentional about, because I have had, residents reach out to me and like, you're talking about all this growth, but you're just gonna get rid of the seniors. And I'm like, oh no, what's your number?
And the seniors are important, and they don't want to be left that way.
Oh, they cannot be left out. I'm like, oh no, what's your number? What's your address? Let's have a conversation, because that is furthest from the truth. But I understand how that feels. So I can say that. But if you have people who have watched communities develop in that way or have experienced the negative impacts of that, then you got to show people.
Yeah, you got to show people, because right now, everywhere in the metro Atlanta area, you see this. You see this gentrification happening, and you see people displaced and put out of their community, and it's painful.
It is extremely painful.
But it happens over and over again. So what is it like to step out to do this new model when, you are stepping into a place that brings immediate comparison? I just did it.
Mm-hmm. So, it's a lot of prayer, and making sure that I'm grounded in what I'm purposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm not getting into self or ego, right? To make sure that this is the work that I've been assigned here to do. It is also being willing to say no, right? So I've said in a number of conversations that we're not thirsty. And people are like, what does that mean?
That's right. Yeah.
We don't have to just take anything,
Yeah.
right? Like we want development, we want to grow, but we want smart growth.
Mm-hmm.
We want responsible developers. Anybody can build a building. But not only do people want to build buildings, but people want to build community,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you have developers who understand the importance and impact on people, they develop differently, right? And they're developing with the community in mind. And so, I tell people we're not necessarily trying to change the world. We're not trying to disrupt the model that exists in this country, but just give us East Point, right? Just give us what within our locus of control. And then we're going to do all that we can while we are here to ensure that we put a system in place that outlives us, but that is equitable and inclusive for all. And so we have a place where equity and inclusion is not just a cliche. It is a way of life. It's living our values. And, it requires fortitude. It requires, having thick skin.
And sometimes, and when you say fortitude and thick skin, you have to know that when you walk into this, and I will say calling, when you walk into this, you're not walking in quietly. No. You have to walk in with the wisdom of God himself. Yep. and hearing how you must maneuver. Yeah. There's so much more to unpack here, and I just love it because you are really setting a new standard. We're going to be back in just a moment. This is BJA Today. It's time to unpack the real deal here. Get ready.
It costs so little to teach a child to love, and so much to teach him to hate. These simple but profound words from our founder have been guiding Boys Town in our work with kids and families for over a century. Today, the ideals of equality and respect are at the core of each parenting strategy you'll find at boystown.org/parenting. Whether you're a parent, grandparent, or guardian of a toddler, teen, or someone in between, we've got parenting guides, articles, videos, tools, and quick tips on a variety of subjects, all developed with love by Boys Town's experts.
Teach me respect.
Teach me patience.
Teach me kindness. Teach me love.
Visit boystown.org/magnet today to receive your Teach Love Magnet. It's a great reminder that the change we want to see in our world begins at home, and Boys Town is there to help along the way.
There's no point like East Point. Happy birthday, East Point! So we are celebrating 132 years. Over a century of being the amazing point where there's no point like East Point.
Welcome back to BJA Today. We have really gotten into the meat of things here with the mayor of East Point. You know, I have to say, you are a different kind of woman, a different kind of mayor, and it's just such a pleasure to hear your God-given vision for this community. You're not leaving anyone out. You're not turning the people who have lived here for years and years and years, who have now built something and have a family base here. There's something more to building an infrastructure for a community, for a city, than just those things that we see from the new businesses. What is it that it takes to get this infrastructure moved into the right positioning?
So I can tell you it definitely takes being able to be a consensus builder. And so a lot of people talk about what they'll use like I this and I that. There's no dictator form of government in the United States of America.
That's right.
So you can't do it by yourself. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to build consensus with people who have the shared vision and the commitment to people, mm-hmm. right? And so I am, definitely blessed to be able to be on a council where the majority of my council get that. There are a number of cities and places across this country where it might be only one person on the council that has the commitment or the vision. That's a hard lift. It's almost impossible because you have to get consensus. And so, it requires that. It requires setting the vision, and it requires making a commitment from the top to say, this is who we are, this is what we believe, and this is what we're gonna do. So we passed a resolution basically committing to equity, right? Committing to be equitable in how we grow. From that, we then we contracted with Partnership for Southern Equity because, again, this is a new model.
Yes.
And so, I have staff who have a lot of experience in planning and zoning and development.
But it's from the old model.
But it's that model. So even I, right, like as I grew up, and my dad built residential homes, right? And so I've been around builders.
Yes.
But this is different, right? Helping staff understand that we all have to learn, right? Like we have to believe. So we literally were at a conference for this equity program we were part of, and we had our team for the city. And so I went around the table and looked everybody in the eye, and I was like, do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe, right? Like, because I can't tell you I have the answers right now.
Right.
But I need you to at least believe that we can do something different. Mm-hmm. And then we have to put the things in place to make that happen. So Partnership for Southern Equity is helping us create an equitable growth and inclusion strategic plan.
Partnership for Southern Equity.
Partnership for Southern Equity, yes. It's an organization that has been doing this work premised in, racial equity for over a decade. And so we've partnered with them. We're looking at community benefit agreements. So you incentivize development. But if we're gonna give $1 million or $2 million tax break, then I need $2 million in community benefits,
exactly.
Ideally, right?
Yes.
Because I haven't given my residents
$1
million tax break.
Yes.
Because I
So
can't
I
afford to do
need
that either, right? So
right.
Community benefits ordinance focuses around that, making sure that as development comes, we're clear about who we are and what we do. Inclusionary zoning ordinances. So look, if we're going to build housing, for me, and that's just me personally, the 10% affordable and 90% market doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
20% affordable and 80% market. You creating a 80% and a 70% gap between like the low and the high. So you can't build a development and just have low, like extremes, right? What about building housing that is affordable based upon people's income? So there are people who feel like, and I can look at people and read their body language by now. Like, if you say affordable housing, some people are like, because they've assigned a race, a class, a socioeconomic group, like something to that.
Something that they don't want to be involved with.
Yeah, but if you have $1 million house and a mortgage, your house is affordable for you.
Yes.
Because a mortgage is an affordable housing tool. So I intentionally talk about housing affordability. We want to ensure that we have a full continuum of housing in the city, from homelessness to attainable housing, which is a term that I think people just don't like. Affordable housing, but whatever. But housing for everyone at every income level. Low income, moderate income, middle income, high income, right? Whatever you have, whoever you are, wherever your income is, having housing that you can afford.
But Mayor, you are putting things forth that people talk about in secret, if you will, talk about it at the coffee shop, talk about together at the dining table, but to get a structure, to get people to see it, do it, play it out, you, yourself, as mayor, have to really push in. And that seems to be exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, you push in, you lean in, you encourage, you coach, right? You fall back because it's not about me,
Yeah.
right? So, like, what's most important is that people understand and gain the knowledge for themselves and understand the real impact and opportunity we can have. So it's not really about me. The leader is power to the extent that they empower others.
Other
That's
people.
President Barack Obama's quote, right? And so it really might mean falling back, and that's okay, right? So it's being flexible and realizing at the end of the day, the work is too important. The call is too valuable, right, to not figure out the workarounds to be able to make it happen, because it's not about me, it's not about ego, and it's really about helping people understand that it can be different.
And it can be now.
And it has to be now. We don't
It
have
has
a choice.
to. We really don't. We really don't. For those of you who are saying, wait a minute, I need to get involved with this. Wait a minute, why did I not know this? Keep listening. We're going to be back in just a moment. This is BJA Today. It is time right now to make a move in your life. Why are we waiting? Let's get it going. We'll be right back to talk about some steps.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
We're back with BJA Today. You know, there are things that you want to see happen in your community, and you always are wondering, is it going to happen? Well, here is a community that you can take part, that you're encouraged to take part. Mayor Ingraham, what is that, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 kind of punch that you would say, these are the things that, as a whole, in this community, that we can do from your office all the way out?
So, the power is with the people.
Yes.
And so first and foremost, people have to understand their power, and we have to educate and inform them of that, right? So like I look like a walking billboard today, but that's because we are doing census outreach, and we also are doing voter registration. And so I'm here with you in between 3 events, right?
Getting it done.
Getting it done. But the people have to understand their power. The power of the people rests in being counted and voting, right? And so completing the census brings resources to our communities for housing, senior service, transportation, roads, public safety, like all of these things that in the community people will say, well, nothing's happening in my community, but this is free money. I tell people this is the only thing that you can do. Take less than 10 minutes, complete 10 questions, and it'll impact us for 10 years at least $2,300 per person. So that's $23,000 a person for 10 years. And when you click submit, we're going to automatically get the money.
Yep. I don't think people even realize that it's like that.
It's that easy, right? So, there are other communities right now that are at almost 80% participation rate in the census. Communities like ours don't enjoy that right now, right? And so what I've learned is that people don't understand the value, and we're asking them to do something at the time that we need them to do it, right? So you're trying to educate them, but they're like, yeah.
And get them to do it at the same time.
At the same time. So I say we're going to finish strong and continue on. We're going to finish strong and get as many people counted as possible, and we're going to continue talking about the census every year in 2021, 22, 23. We're not going to wait to 2030. The other thing is voting. The power of the people is in the vote. The people who make decisions every day, the district attorneys and, the police chiefs in some areas and those people are elected.
Right.
And so when you get a community that is disenfranchised and they believe it doesn't matter, then you get people who don't care in office, right? So people have to fundamentally understand that. So that is like bare minimum basic, being counted and voting. The other thing is being engaged. Right? And so government is not just about the people who are elected. It's really not. So there are 9 of us, me and 8 council members, and I tell people the great ideas are literally with the 35,000 residents in the city.
Who bring that to you and say, this is what we need. This is what we want.
We started a VIP program, volunteering in the point, right? Because I believe anybody who gives any amount of time is a VIP, right? And so if it's 30 minutes one time a year, imagine if I got 35,000 residents doing 30 minutes one time a year. But that is because we need to tap into people's interests, their passion, and allow them to then connect with other people. And then that is magic, right? And that is how you have communities that sustain themselves, because the community becomes engaged and they understand their power, and we work together.
Yes.
We're stronger together and we work together. The third thing on this whole equitable revitalization and redevelopment is buy land. So either you buy it yourself, you tell people who have money to buy it, you pool your money with some other people and buy it. But this gentrification happens because, think about it, there are places that have been left undeveloped for decades.
Yes. And we see it all over.
You see it all over, and then somebody decides they're going to come buy the property. And my husband was just telling me about an article where I can't remember the name of the apartment, but they're offering people $2,500 if they move by September. $1,500 if they move by October. They got to get out. They got to find somewhere to stay because they're about to build some high-end condos, right? Yeah. But if somebody who was a responsible developer actually owned that property, there would be a more humanity focus around it, right? And so we talk a lot about what they're doing or what is happening versus engaging and being a part of that so that we can build wealth in our community, right? So that we can have developments and places and spaces that respect
You are so
people.
speaking my language. I'm like ready to jump up and down. This is about to go to a whole nother kind of interview. I just need you to understand that these are the things that we talk about that give us the opportunity to make a shift that's like a lightning bolt.
Yes, I say don't let Columbus rediscover America one more time in your community, right? So literally, Columbus came to America, Indians were living here, it was nice land, and then they had to go, and he named it America. Think about the other neighborhoods where this happens. Yes. So they have one name, and then someone comes in and totally changes it and invests in it, and now it has a new name, and those people are gone. We can't continue to allow it to happen, right? And so we have to realize our power. And I tell people you can either watch the game and be mad about what's going on and all of that, or you can learn the rules, play the game, and win. And so we look for win-wins in our city. We look for win-wins for our community. It's not just about what the developer wants. It has to be a win-win for the people in our community. And right now, some people might not get that, right? Again, there's no models. But long term, I believe, as I continue to walk in my purpose and do what I'm called to do, that we will be able to be that model. And I always say there's no point like East Point. And I say that because I believe we are a model and will continue to be a model for all things equitable, just, fair, inclusive. And I also say it because I want people to be like, why did she say that? And I'm like, come check us out and see.
And it is worth checking out and seeing. It really is worth it. We've seen such a fantastic boom, such a fantastic growth, and the synergy that when we speak to the businesses in the area, just as I said before, just up and down Main Street, people seem happier, fresher, there's something alive happening at East Point.
It is, and I think the thing that people are feeling or happy about is that we welcome engagement. So I really feel that people don't feel like we're doing things to them. We have opportunities to do things with them. And they feel like they can be a part of something, right? A part of, and on the ground, the foundation of building something that's gonna be amazing, but not just amazing for amazing sake, but amazing impact on the lives of the people in our community and transform our community in a positive way, and have people who've still been here for 40 years being able to enjoy, all that's coming to this area, and having people who might choose to move in different places. There's difference in the choice of being forced, right? And so I'm excited, I'm thankful, I'm honored that I've been assigned here during this time. And so I'm just gonna keep doing what God guides me to do, and help make sure that it's benefiting and lifting as we climb, uplifting our community.
Everyone who's around it and
Yes,
in it.
absolutely.
What a pleasure it has been. It's so refreshing. And I have interviewed lots of politicians, lots, and this has been quite refreshing. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I like to think of myself as a public servant, but I know we get those other titles as well. And so I say it's not, my actions speak louder than words, right? And I can't tell people things. I have to actually do it. So may the works I've done speak for me. And
Absolutely.
thank you for this opportunity
Absolutely.
to talk with you today. I've enjoyed the conversation.
This has been really awesome. You guys, if you haven't been to East Point lately, take a drive down Main Street. You'll find yourself stepping into wonderful places up and down Main Street. And there are lots of things for your kiddos to do as well. Yeah. So I've had a great time. I hope you have. We're going to have more about East Point as we go forth. And you have a fabulous day. Be blessed. Continue to do, not just talk about it. God bless.